What is shaking, everybody? Let's get right to it. It's always a pleasure to talk to my next guest. We're going to talk a little NFL draft. And one of my favorites, CBS analyst. He's been with them since 2020. Seen him on NFL Network breaking down college football as well. Charles Davis, and a fellow billionaire aficionado. Charles, what's going on?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Tom?
Doing good, doing good. Did we ever jump back on Billions? I know you're upset Axe left, but I hope you got back on it at some point.
Yeah, I never got back to it, which is everybody keeps telling me you missed out, so I hated that. But I actually was it Corey Stoll who took over?
Yep.
Kind of missing the whole deal. I saw him on something recently as an old something, and he was a waiter in it. And I was like, hey, running Axe Capital. That's pretty cool.
So you would have been happy too, because the last season Axe came back.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
that was a fun season. That was a really fun season.
The summer, so I've got to when the draft's over, maybe I can get back to it and catch up. What do they call it? Binging. See, I'm trying to
binging. Yes, that's what they call it. That's exactly what they call it. All right, before we get to the NFL draft, the Niners and maybe top 10 or so, did I read somewhere where next year will be the last year you're going to be doing the NFL after Gary Danielson retires? You're going to be doing the primetime college football game on CBS. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate, Tom. Gary's got this year, and he's going to have his farewell year, which is fantastic and more than deserved. Boy, he's been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and I'm fortunate enough that I'll be replacing him. So, and in my old spot, JJ Watt had moved into my spot on the NFL side. So I'll get one more year of NFL with a team and a unit to be determined, and we'll have that in 2025 and then 2026. College football. So what was that great movie, Back to the Future? That's where I started.
Well, I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for me too, because I know where you're going to be every Saturday now. Sunday, you had to jump around a little bit. Saturday, I know exactly where you're going to be. Whatever the primetime game is on CBS, I'll be able to see it. So congratulations.
I'm pretty fortunate to be able to jump in with a crew that's done it so well for so long. And I remember when I jumped in with Ian and Evan Washburn in 2020, my dad said, "You're going on that team?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Wow, they're really good." He goes, "Well, things fall off. We know what happened." I'll never forget that.
Dang.
So, I have a feeling I'm going to get the same type of conversation in 2026. You're jumping on Brad Nessler, and that was Gary Danielson's team with Jenny Depp. Boy, if it falls off, we know what happened, don't we? So I'll not keep it in perspective.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's jump to some draft talk. Let's get to the Niners. It's seemingly the Niners defensive line, offensive line are the two areas of need. Like they really could beef up the offensive line and defensive line. I don't know how Kyle looks at the offensive line. I know it's important, but I don't know if he feels like he can fix it and just plug guys in. Defensive line, I think they'd like to get back to what they had in 2019 when they had Armstead and Buckner and Bosa and Ford on the outside, which was just a dominant defensive line. They haven't been able to recreate that. More specifically, run stopping in the last couple of years has fallen off. Or like, where do you see that? Like, who are the guys on the defensive line that would make sense at 11, or maybe even in the second round? Because I've heard the defensive line is a pretty deep draft, especially defensive tackles. Who are some names you look at and say these guys could make sense for the 49ers?
Well, there are going to be a bunch of them, Tom, and let's see if my brain can summon up a few of them along the way.
Okay.
Because where they're picking at 11, there's a chance to get a prime guy, one of the top edge rushers that's in the draft. Obviously, it won't be Abdul Carter. He's clearly the number one guy out of Penn State, and he should be gone by number 2, number 3 pick, right? Like he's probably gone at that point. But a Mike Green from Marshall, who's really made a jump in terms of us on the outside going, wow, who's this guy? Boy, we talk about risers and fallers. The NFL tends to crack up. They're like, we've been doing this for like 3 years with these guys. You guys. So he's one of the players that you look at. Be interesting to see what happens with the Georgia kids. All right. If we're talking about Jalen Walker and Mike Williams, about where exactly they go. They're both ranked very highly. Their sack numbers are not huge, but that hasn't stopped people from being really good pros. My quick example is always Danielle Hunter, the great pass rusher now that used to be at the Vikings. He's about 100 sacks in his NFL career. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's right around that number. He had 4.5 sacks in his collegiate career at LSU.
Wow.
Not a predictor for what we were going to see in the NFL. So you're just not quite sure sometimes. Sometimes the numbers just don't support how good they are or can be. And then coming out of Georgia, where you have a lot of rotation, a lot of players playing, sometimes the numbers don't pile up. Trayvon Walker, remember he went number 1 ahead of Hayden Hutchinson? And everybody's like, oh, my God, how'd you take someone ahead of Hayden Hutchinson? I get it. Hutchinson's been sensational. If he wasn't hurt last year, he's probably going to be an all-pro. And we hope he'll get back to that form very quickly. But Trayvon Walker's gone back-to-back double-digit sacks in the NFL. So it's not like he couldn't play. We just want to make sure. So the reason I bring that up is we're going to see a number of these guys that just don't have the numbers that flat out support it. But as we get into this thing and we get deeper, we're going to find guys who can play. I mean, you might find a kid like Ashton Gelati out of Louisville, who had decent numbers in college. He could be a mid-round guy who could turn out to be a heck of a pass rusher, not someone we think of, okay? Could we get a David Walker out of Central Arkansas who does not have the length, doesn't have the height, doesn't have the stature you're looking for, played at Central Arkansas for goodness sakes. But guess what? Kid's getting 20-something sacks a year the last couple of years.
Yeah.
What are we looking at and what we're going to get? So the 49ers are obviously going to do their due diligence on all these different guys, all these different pass rushers, all these different people. And they come in all sizes, shapes. Ja Joyner at Minnesota, Fadil Diggs, Syracuse. I'm just throwing names just to let you know, Tom. I'm not sure how people are ranking them, but there's so many of them out there that the Niners are sure to be able to grab 1 or 2 of them.
What are your thoughts? Because one guy we all follow the ball when we're watching the game.
Yeah, it's kind of normal, right?
So it cracks me out when people talk about certain positions that you never see because they're following the ball. It's like, how do you know this guy is any good? I don't know they're any good, but I know the kid Nolan for Mississippi, the defensive tackle. He's a guy that when I watch Mississippi games, he jumped out at me. Now, apparently, he's also a guy that can disappear for a while because maybe the motor doesn't go, doesn't continue to rev high throughout the whole game. What are your thoughts on him? Because when he does flash, as they say, you look and you go, wow, that dude's pretty special.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And I think that you're onto something too, Tom. Your eyes are seeing what you're supposed to see. And you're right about, most of if you're watching just a game on TV, we are following the ball. But I have discovered in recent years, because game tape was always the one thing fans could not have access to or did not have access to. So as you mentioned, if they were scouting, right, if they were handing you their draft analysis when you would come out of Radio City Music Hall where the draft used to be held, I remember the early years of me doing it. If I so wanted, I could have carried 10 to 15 per day back to my room with me. And the people had done. They had done their work. They had busted it. They had done all that. They were serious about it, but they didn't have game tape. They were taking off of TV copies. They were doing other things. Now they have access to game tape. So when you decide to be Mr. Broadcaster or Mr. Evaluator, go, well, I've watched 7 of their games, thinking that'll be the end of the argument. Like, that's where you drop the mic. They're always like, yeah, well, I've watched 2 years worth and I have it right here. And I got every play broken down. You have to respect fans in their diligence. Okay. Sometimes they're not quite sure what they're watching, but sometimes they are. And I always go into it like, hey, I better respect what they've done because they put their time in. So it's kind of fun to watch. But back to Nolan, exactly what you're talking about. Upfield guy, can wreck things from the interior. Now, he's not an edge rusher, right? He's more of an inside guy. But, boy, they had a hard time dealing with him in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and teams who tried to block him had a hard time dealing with him either at Texas A&M or where he finished at Ole Miss. You mentioned flashes. Great scouts that I know tell me all the time, whatever you do, don't forget, grade the flashes. Never forget the big-time plays and wonder, are they repeatable by that guy? Walter Nolan got plenty of those flashes that you want to see, because, Mason Graham from Michigan is probably gone by the time we get to the Niners. Is Kenneth Grant, his running mate at Michigan, worth it at 11? I don't know that you get him by the time you come back around the second time.
Yeah.
No is a possibility, as you mentioned, during that time frame. And I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about him as we approach the draft, because there's been, as you noted, a little bit of an up and down with him. I'm feeling more like the momentum is in the arrows pointing up for him as we get closer to the draft in Green Bay.
Yeah. What about Harmon, the kid out of Oregon?
Yeah, I like him a bunch. And, with Oregon, it's almost always on the flash and the dash, right? Because that's what that's
exactly.
What do, right? If I'm watching the Mighty Ducks, Ducks fly together. But in this case, Harmon is an inside guy that has some versatility to move up and down the line of scrimmage a little bit for you. Can get upfield and get skinny on you and get into the face of the quarterback with some pressure, hold the point of attack on the line of scrimmage, shed, and go make a play in the run game. Really good effort on snap to snap and what you're seeing. And he's well regarded in the NFL ranks. And again, he will be a guy that's going to be considered in the first round as high as 11. That'd be interesting to see if it goes like that. But again, when you come back around for a second bite at the apple, the feeling is he wouldn't be there for the second bite unless you were doing something that you were able to maneuver with someone.
Yeah. And look, the offensive line is also a possibility. Will Campbell out of LSU, Membo out of Missouri, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
You got it right. Yes.
But so here's what I want to ask you, because I say this all the time, Charles. Like, look, build your team around the defensive line and offensive line. That's where you're going to win football games, period. I go, you don't need the flashy guys. You don't need that. Like, for me, I'm not a wide receiver in the first round guy, but I get why they do it. But I'm going to contradict myself here, because I keep envisioning Tyler Warren, if he's there, in Kyle Shanahan's offense, and think, oh my gosh, that would be insane. Him and Kittle together. Now, I don't know them resigning Juszczyk, if that prohibits them from doing that, or that lessens a chance. I'm not sure. And I'm not even sure if it's a wise move, because they do need defensive line and offensive line. But man, it seems like it's a little bit of a luxury pick. But Warren and Shanahan's system, I'm thinking him and Kittle out there, how are you going to stop these guys? I mean, just thinking about it is like, oh, I'd love to watch that squad.
If re-signing Kyle Juszczyk does not prohibit this selection being made, if the 49ers had that opportunity and decided to do so, other than the discussion of the jersey number. And Juszczyk's too established with 44. So that's, I don't care what gets off the first juice isn't giving that number up. But maybe kind of does it like, tell you what, how about number and waiting? You can switch to it in a year or two or whatever when we go down the line. But it doesn't prohibit it at all. And that's what you're talking about, Tom. The beauty of Warren being able to be used all over the place in your offense. Traditional tight end up on the line of scrimmage, flexed out a little bit, backside of a formation where he becomes the one-on-one guy and wins those routes one-on-one against people. Will block in the run game. Okay, will block downfield for you and just catches everything that comes his way. Plus that overall aura, feeling, mood, whatever you want to call it, that he brings to a team, where the sense is that you're getting a really good teammate. You're getting a guy that's going to come in and figure it out, have confidence in himself, but adapt to what we need to do here and become part of something, and not try and be something apart from what is already there. He just carries with him a great reputation, a great feel to him. But boy, what a player he has turned out to be. And let's face it, Tom, the highlight tapes are what really grab us, right? Because how often do you get a guy who actually gets a weird formation? He's the center. He snaps the ball, runs downfield like we're playing in the Turkey Bowl in our backyard, and he catches a touchdown pass, and not against, as Kelvin Sampson said it the other night, Sasquatch U. He caught it against USC in the Coliseum in a heck of a ball. So that's what you get. The interesting part is the second tight end, Colston Loveland, is rated pretty highly. Okay.
He's good too.
On some people's boards, I'm guessing, because I don't have it all in front of me, I don't have everybody tell me what their board says, but talking with different people involved, scouts and people, I had one say, listen, I would enjoy a debate between the two of them. That's how much he regards Colston Loveland. Loveland was hurt part of last year, but boy, he can do all the same things we're talking about with Warren, but we don't have the highlight tapes that go with it. So if you're a fan, you're like, I got to have Warren. He's got to be the guy. My barber, he's a Giants fan. And he's like, why wouldn't we take Warren at 3? Why wouldn't we take Warren at 3? I've heard that for a month and a half now, okay? But since he's cutting what few hairs I have, we're going to talk Warren at 3 as much as he wants to.
And you could use Warren as a Wildcat quarterback if you want to. I mean, the dude's just a football player, period. And you speak of the highlight tape. You don't need to watch a highlight tape. Just watch the USC game where he caught 1,000 balls and threw the ball and ran the ball. It was unbelievable.
High school quarterback. I mean, he had that in him already. And you go and read some of the stories that come out of his high school career. Basketball. There was one point where his high school basketball coach, he was not forcing people to throw, like, I got to have every shot. He's not that type of a kid. And at one point, I think it was in the article, the high school basketball coach realized what was being missed. And next practice, guys, no shots go up unless he touches the ball on this possession. If once he touches the ball, then we can go from there. But if he doesn't touch it, no one's taking a shot first unless it's a flat-out breakaway. So they had to figure out, okay, it's got to run through this young man.
So out of Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, and Jackson Dart, how many of these guys are true first-round talents? Or how many of them are going? I mean, every year it happens. It doesn't surprise me anymore that everybody reaches for quarterbacks because we all know the importance of having a quarterback. I think in the playoffs this year, every quarterback was a first rounder except for 2, I want to say. One was a third rounder, Russell Wilson, and Jalen Hurts was a second rounder. I think everybody else was first rounders in the playoffs. So we know the importance. It's hard not to reach. It's, you get bit in the butt if you do reach and you're wrong. So that being said, we know people are going to reach for the quarterbacks. How many of these guys are true first round talents, you think? Or is that just subjective?
I put it into, how we talk about who was the greatest basketball player? Yeah. And we start the fight every single time, right? How about let's just talk about in their eras.
That's what I say. I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
Let's just talk about in their eras. Now, there are a few that you kind of go, well, he could probably play in just about any era. But there's very few of those. It's kind of like Jim Brown in football. Okay. Yeah. In his era, he was way ahead of time. But you look back at Jim Brown's stature, his build, height, weight, speed. Jim Brown would still be dominant now. He's one of those few that cross over. But let's play the game way that you and I talked about. Let's keep it in their eras. The quarterbacks that are coming out this year are not as highly regarded as let's just use last year. 6 quarterbacks, first 12 picks. Okay? That almost feels like the 1983 class that we talk about all the time, right? With Marino and Kelly and
who else was there? O'Brien was in there too, I think, and
Ken O'Brien. Tony Eason.
Tony Eason, that's right.
Todd Blackledge. You know what's interesting? Very quickly, Tom. That 1983 class, Elway won 2 Super Bowls and played in more, right? Kelly went to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't get one, unfortunately, but went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Tony Eason quarterbacked the team to a Super Bowl. That was the Patriots against the 85 Bears. So that didn't go.
Oops.
But they got to the Super Bowl. Marino got to 1, and we still can't understand how that team never got back again. He got there his second year in the league, right? Ken O'Brien had the Jets as, I'm not going to call them a perennial playoff team, but they were there. Like they were close to being a playoff team most years. And gave people trouble. I think one year, didn't they lose the AFC Championship game to Miami? So
I think you're right.
Out of that group, it was unbelievable. But they were all from pick 1 through picks in the 20s because Marino went in the 20s. This is 6 of the first 12 picks. And by the way, out of those 6, only J.J. McCarthy didn't play because he was hurt going to Minnesota, right? But Bo Nix, had a heck of a rookie year.
Yep.
Caleb Williams showed us why he was picked number 1, even though the Bears imploded, but I think that was more around him than it was him. Jaden Daniels was sensational.
It was great.
Drake May, once he became the starter, got better and better and better and almost took out Buffalo late in the season in Buffalo in a game they had no business even being in. And Michael Penix became the starter late and kept Atlanta in the playoff hunt. On a one-year sample, a very good quarterback crop so far. So let's see how things develop for them and go. But compare them to this year's, just off of the rankings, off of how people would evaluate them, there's a major fight about whether any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft would be taken before the last one was taken last year, which was Bo Nix at 12. Some people might say Cam Ward. Some might say Shador as well. Could be in the argument when you get to the 4th, 5th quarterback that was taken last year. That might be about it. But there are a number of people, I believe, that would say all 6 from last year before this one. That's kind of what we're dealing with, Tom. So we're talking about in its era, though. Cam Ward's a first rounder, clearly the top guy. Then you're gonna have a lot of arguments now. Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck from Louisville, who's a little bit older, and I think hopefully we're losing that overaged tag. I like a quarterback with some age on him myself. I like a youngster coming out who goes into a huddle with a bunch of grown men and isn't just 22 years old and still finishing off his Clearasil. All right. He's going to go into the huddle, been to 4 different schools, got 4 different degrees. This guy comes in a little more mature, married, understands what it's going to take now, and has a lot to prove because he only had 1 year where he was healthy, and that was this past year. He's had some freaky injuries. I don't know that he's injury prone as much as unlucky, but he had his best year last year and was pretty darn good in it. And then you get guys like Will Howard at Ohio State who won a national title. He's like, I'm the best quarterback in the draft, which I love to hear because you better have confidence in yourself. I know somebody compared him the other day to Josh Allen and what have you. That's really, really rich for me. But I like Will Howard a lot. Great young man, the whole deal. He's got some moxie to him. He's had to battle. If you check his backstory, it wasn't handed to him at Kansas State, lost his job a couple times, and then was a 1-year deal at Ohio State, and it had to pay off in the big one because they let Kyle McCord go to Syracuse. And Kyle McCord had a heck of a year at Syracuse. But Howard comes in, justifies why they made the move they made, was really good during the college football playoff. And there are a few others as well, but I did read this, Tom. Somebody was talking, a really good talent evaluator that I respect. I think it's Matt Miller over at ESPN, mentioned we have a middle class of quarterbacks this year that we don't normally have. Usually you have here, and everybody else is down here. This year you have that middle class that you're hoping might become starters, and a good number of the guys I've talked about would hit that middle class. It's going to be interesting because we normally push quarterbacks up, but there are certain years where we think they're going to get pushed up, and we actually make them wait. Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder. Remember that year?
Mm-hmm.
It goes to Pittsburgh in the first round. We're waiting for the others to now get gobbled up. The next quarterback went in the 3rd round. Ridder and Willis both went in the 3rd round. Will Levis on draft night a couple of years ago walks in, and everybody's like, could he be a top 5 pick? And he picked in the 1st round. He's the 2nd pick of the 2nd round and has struggled starting last year as a starter. So maybe sometimes that depth, water finds its level. Will this be a year where those quarterbacks don't actually go despite all of us spending all of our time trying to evaluate it?
Yeah. Every time I think of Will Levis, I think of, may your quarterback not throw 4 picks in a game.
Tom, I tell you, I've liked this young man in a lot of ways. He loves the game. He's serious about it. He takes it that way. The quirks will get you if you don't play with them, right?
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Look, the Bull Durham movie holds up so well.
With the flip-flops, I was just thinking the same thing.
Right, Tom?
Yep.
When he comes through and he's had that really bad night where Annie read to him or whatever, and he never had any sleep, laying on the training table, and Crash picks up the shower shoe.
Yeah.
The shower shoe has fungus on it. And he goes, you win 20 in the show, you're colorful.
Yeah.
Here, you're just a slob.
Exactly.
Quirks, right? If you have
Yep.
different quirks and you're a little bit off the beaten path, it's applauded like crazy if you're kicking butt and you're winning. If not, we find ways to jump on you for it. And for right now, Will Levis is going through that. Hopefully he can get better than that and get past it. I hope so for his sake.
All right, before I let you go, I got to ask you about Brock Purdy, because I feel like I'm still fighting this fight of trying to explain myself for thinking that Brock Purdy is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I've said it's Mahomes, it's Burrow, it's Allen and Jackson. Those are the unquestioned top four. Those are separate from everybody else. Then there's Stafford, to me, is right there, but he's in a different category because he's a little bit older. And I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'll take Purdy over the rest. Herbert, I might have an issue with, but I Goff and Love and Hurts and Stroud and even Daniels, I'd like to see another year. But anybody else, I go, I'll listen to the arguments. If you like the other guys better, I go, but for me, Brock Purdy is in that mix. And I still feel like we're kind of fighting the Mr. Irrelevant, last player picked, when's the bubble going to burst thing. It's like, aren't we past the bubble bursting now? If it was going to burst, it would have burst a while ago. And I feel like it's kind of coming back into play now, people talking about it because of his contract. And I'm thinking, he'll get between 50, 55 around there. That's what all those other guys are getting. And I put him in that category. How do you see it? Because I still feel like I'm trying to explain to people, who cares we got drafted? That was like 3 years. Nobody cares anymore. He's already proven himself at the big boy level. At least I think he has, hasn't he?
I believe he has, Tom. I think the best way, I wish I could just pull the clip and just do it right now. We were doing San Francisco at Arizona right around Christmas 2 seasons ago, not last season, but the season before, Super Bowl season. And Brock was making his return home, Arizona and the whole deal. The Cardinals actually wore all white for holiday white at home, which they don't normally do, that sort of deal. And Brock comes in and does what he did the entire season, which was light them up and play well. And we had that same discussion on air. And I'm just going to paraphrase here. I'm in your camp, okay? I think he can play. I don't think this is just, oh, wow, look at the system. Look what's going on. The system helps because Kyle does a fantastic job, Kyle Shanahan, in scheming matchups, scheming people open, making that offense hum. And there were times when the 49ers weren't very good, and you saw good flashes from C.J. Beathard. You saw flashes from Nick Mullins, right? You're seeing guys that really aren't starters in the league, but Kyle did such a great job with that offense, and he can give you fits even when his talent isn't as good. Now put the talent together. Now you have people to throw to, people to block for him, people to run the ball. And here comes Brock Purdy working his way up from Mr. Irrelevancy to taking it over and getting better and better and better and better. I do think there's a huge, huge bias because he was Mr. Irrelevant, and it drives people crazy. There's just no way this can be happening. But in all this conversation we've talked about who gets to Super Bowls as quarterbacks, it's typically a first round, second round guy, right? Our outliers, Russell Wilson, 3rd round. The GOAT, 6th round. Number 199 seared into our brains. It's the ultimate outlier.
Yep.
Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, has gotten to a Super Bowl. So we will have those come through. But the consistency and who's going to win Super Bowls and who's going to be dominant is typically you got to get your quarterback first, 2nd round. Brock Purdy, I think, is broken through on that one. I think that if he goes from there to another place, he's going to be a good quarterback there.
Yeah.
It was no accident in what I saw. I got really tired of the old, okay, you keep telling me all of these things. There are a lot of other people who got drafted either ahead of him or what have you, who've had opportunity. They haven't come even close to doing this. It can't all be the system. He has to make the system go. And by the way, when he gets hurt against the Eagles, I'm not saying that they win that game. The Eagles were awfully good. But that game became a no doubter because he couldn't play. Absolute no doubter because he couldn't play. There has to be some value that people need to acknowledge with that young man. And I'll put this, he can play quarterback for me, and I think I can get to a Super Bowl again with him and maybe win it. But that's just where I am. I feel like I'm in your camp on it. I'm not tired of fighting it. I just don't understand what people are trying to say. I think a lot of people are hoping that he falls off the cliff because
no, I think you're right.
We do like being right about what we see, or we do like acknowledging where people came from and what their numbers were. And when that gets upset a little bit, it throws people off. It really does, because it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You told me that he wasn't very good because you drafted him last in the thing. Well, guess what? Sometimes it happens. Tom Brady in the 6th round, turning into the best quarterback we've seen, that's the ultimate outlier. Okay?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
How often is that going to happen?
Not very. You know what it's like, Charles? It's like those are the people that if it was a first overall pick, they'd want to give him chance after chance after chance after chance. And then they would also blame the system for retarding the growth of the quarterback because, well, hell, he was drafted number 1. He has to be good. He can't be this bad. It's got to be someone else's fault. I saw this guy in college and he was great. And it's like, I get it. But once you get a couple years in the league now, 2.5, 3, you're showing people who you are. Whether you choose to believe what you're watching or not is up to you, but it doesn't matter because coaches will tell you in any sport, I don't care where you get drafted. Are you going to get more chances because we invested more money in you? Yes, of course. But at some point, you got to help me win. And I got to feel like you can help me win, because if not, your draft status isn't helping me. So you're going to show me who you are soon enough. In 2 years, that's enough time to show you who you are. So I just kind of shrug my shoulders now. I'm with you. I don't mind saying it all the time because I believe it. It just surprises me that there's still that many people out there that are like, yeah, he's good, but, look at all the weapons he had. I'm like, well, he didn't have them last year. And if you're going to go by weapons, how come nobody held that against Kurt Warner, even though he was undrafted, but he looked the part, or Peyton Manning, who was drafted first overall? He had Hall of Famers all over the place. So it just makes me chuckle a little bit. Like maybe the 5th year, maybe if he wins a Super Bowl, maybe people will go, you know what? Okay, now we can admit it now. He's actually pretty decent.
It's the age old, and it'll never end, Tom. And that's, that's our opinion. Our people have a different opinion, but you're right, because Sam Darnold on the flip side last year, okay, comes in, was he number 3 pick overall?
Yeah.
Doesn't go well for him with the Jets, right? He struggles in Carolina, right? San Francisco, he doesn't get to play a whole lot, but it's probably really to be in that system for a while and kind of get out of the fray a little bit. And then he gets to the right place with the right coach and the right system and someone who believes in him, and Kevin O'Connell has that year. I know the way it ended wasn't what anyone wanted, but what you saw during the season, that goes back to what you said. Okay, he's a first-round pick. He's going to keep getting chances. Someone's going to see something. Someone's going to try. If Brock Purdy had flamed out early, how many teams would have been scrambling to pick him up and say, no, he's our guy. We're going to bring his chances run out.
0.
So he has to hit it, and he did it quite well. And the last thing I'll say is you brought up Peyton, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne,
Dallas Clark.
But what's funny? There was a time when Peyton started to get more respect, to your point, when the Blair White experience happened, when he had guys hurt. And now he's making those receivers better, because Brady did it for a lot of his career. But people forget there was times when Peyton did that as well and made those receivers better. The Broncos receivers weren't a collection of all-stars. Demaryius Thomas was pretty darn good. But when he was there, he was lighting them up too. And I think people gave him more respect during that time than maybe they did when it was Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. But what we discovered is Peyton's pretty darn good.
He's pretty good.
You're going to be pretty good too.
He's pretty good. Hey, Charles, I really appreciate you making the time. I know it's a busy time of year with the draft coming up and all that stuff. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining the show. Hopefully we can do it again at some point when we get ready for the NFL season and kind of break down the season a little bit. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Sounds great, Tom. I appreciate it too. And on my study breaks, I've been watching Celtic City, that Bill Simmons did.
Yeah, how do you like it? I haven't seen it yet.
I have enjoyed the heck out of it, and I grew up hating the Celtics. Okay,
Were you a Laker guy?
I grew up in New York State, but I was more
so
of
you're
a
a Knicks guy.
I was more of a Magic guy because I saw
Oh,
Magic
okay.
as a freshman at Michigan State, so I just followed him through. So
Yep.
naturally, I became a Lakers guy. So now it's on, right? The whole thing.
Yep.
This Celtic City is so darn good. I got a tip of the cap to Bill Simmons and crew for putting that whole thing together, because it's not just the basketball. It puts in the context, the city, the time, what was going on here in the world, all of that. I just finished the last two with Len Bias being drafted.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're looking for the next guys. Larry and Kevin and Bill Walton are exiting, and it's supposed to be Reggie Lewis. Wow. So they went through it for a time before coming out to where we are now. So I've really enjoyed the series, and I've never had a chance to meet Bill Simmons, but everything he puts out there is incredibly quality work.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. What's funny, Charles, there's 3 teams I still hate to this day, and a sports hate. Like, I just won't root for that team.
Yeah.
I don't care who they're playing. The Yankees is one.
Yeah.
So even though they play the Dodgers, I'm an Angel fan. I didn't root for the Dodgers, but I want to see the Yankees lose. The Cowboys, because they always used to beat the Rams in the playoffs back in the day, so I can't stand the Cowboys. I don't care who they're playing. I root against Cowboys. And the Celtics. Even to this day, even though I'd still play in the NBA, work in the NBA, I don't really root, but I can't. And they have I have nothing against Tatum. Seems like super cool guy. Brown seems like a super cool guy. Like, the whole team seems like they're like guys that I would like, but I don't care. They're wearing the green and white. And because I was a Laker fan growing up, and I loved Magic and Kareem and Worthy and B. Scott and all those guys, I hated the Celtics. When McHale clothesline Rambus, I wanted to go through my TV and grab McHale and choke him. Like, I was just like, and then he only got 2 free throws. I was like, where's the flagrant? Somebody said that's another 20 years. You got to wait 20 years for a flagrant.
Yep. A whole different world. 2 free throws. No one gets tossed out.
Good play on.
I mean, just play on. They were showing stuff where guys went in the crowd after people. Nothing.
Yep.
Suspensions, playing the very next game, the whole deal. It was a different time and a different era. But yeah, I've enjoyed the series, even though
I'll watch it.
I'm not a Celtics fan. And there's nothing wrong with it, Tom. Hate dies hard. And that's okay.
Yes, it does.
And in sports, that is okay. You should have a healthy hate for the people you really don't like, or the teams you really don't like. You just make it respectful enough. Don't put yourself in trouble. But it's okay to hate.
It's okay to hate. Hey, Charles, I hated him so much in the 80s, I wouldn't even eat Lucky Charms during the month of June.
Hey, look, I've got a very good friend I grew up with who is a BYU grad. No one in his family is permitted to wear red because that's Utah.
So the Holy War.
so it's like that everywhere. Okay. Yeah. Don't fool yourselves. The Holy War means something, all right?
No, you're darn right. It means something. It's nasty.
No one in the family wears anything with red in it. There you go.
That is beautiful. Charles, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Let's do it again, man.
Look forward to you.
Thank you, Charles. All right, you take it easy. All right.
Bye-bye.
Charles Davis, literally just one of my favorites. The guy is so good. Just a classy guy. And fun to talk to. And I always love talking to Charles because we always end up talking about something else too. Basketball. We talked about Billions when we were watching Billions. He kind of got off it when Axe left the show. I was trying to get him back on because Corey Stoll wasn't bad. And the show ended up being, I thought, really good. And then Axe came back to last season. So Charles is just the best. And it's going to be really fun to watch him doing college football in a couple years. So Gary Danielson will continue on. Scott D said Rambus had it coming. Fuck you, pal. He didn't have it coming. You kidding me? Ban that guy. No, I'm just kidding you. But he didn't have it coming. Like Rambus, like he just did what Rambus did, right? Rambus was a guy that was physical and Superman glasses. He was like a cult hero down in LA back then, man. Everybody loved Kurt Rambus. But yeah, that was prime fandom time for me, the 80s. And I was like, I was still college and everything. So I was like early, 17, 18, 19, 20, 15. I again, I still said the greatest game ever, the greatest playoff game in the history of the NBA, and specifically NBA Finals. Because you could go a lot of different ways. You can go Jordan's game, you can go Elgin Baylor's game, where I think he had 61, 62. Jordan against the Celtics. There's been a lot of great playoff games. But to me, the greatest finals game in the history of the NBA was Magic Johnson, Game 6, 1980 in Philadelphia, a rookie, 42, 15, and 7. And that's not just what made it, in my opinion, the greatest game ever in the NBA Finals. It was a rookie playing center when he was a point guard. He played center. The guy got it. I'll play center. He played center and he went out there and just, he was incredible. And then Jamal Wilkes had 37 that game. That was an incredible game. I remember watching that game just going, this guy, Magic, is just something else. Like, he's different. And come to find out, he was different. Him and Bird were much different than anybody else in the league at that time. But that's still my favorite 30 for 30 to this day, Celtics and Lakers, the three-parter. I've watched it twice. Usually I don't watch those kind of things a second time because I already know what happened the first time. I just like to find out some new stuff or just kind of relive the past. And I watched it twice just because I loved it so much. And, of course, the Lakers won twice, which was pretty cool. So do I love the Lakers still? Of course not. You know, when you start playing and you don't have your favorite team's the team you play for. And then, obviously, the Warriors. I work for the Warriors. Steve's one of my best friends, coach of the Warriors. So, yeah, I want to see the Warriors win. It still doesn't come close to the fandom feeling you had when you were a kid or even before you played. Like, when your team loses, when Worthy threw that pass, I want to say it was in 84 maybe, and Gerald Henderson picked it off. Lakers were already up 1-0 in Boston, and they're about to go up 2-0. And Worthy threw a cross-court pass that Gerald Henderson picked off and scored, and they end up winning. I don't know if it was regulation or overtime. That was just like a mule kick to the nuts. Like, that was like, oh, no, what are you doing? Like, you could just see it, too. Worthy throws it and the ball's in the air, and you're just like, son of a bitch. There's no way that's getting to its destination. And that one hurt. That one hurt. Speaking of mule kick to the nuts, I thought that'd be a nice segue to lead into the Warrior game last night. Wasn't that a nice kick to the jewels? Holy smokes. Like, I knew that was going to be a tougher than expected game. They were both off back-to-backs. San Antonio was coming from LA the night before, and they were down 16 to LA early in the fourth quarter and cut it to 5. So they fought the whole way through. And I figured, this is not a team. San Antonio doesn't just lie down. That's just not the culture that they have there. And they have good players. Vassell's a good player. Castle's a good player. Harrison's a pro. Paul is a pro. Like, they have some guys that can play. Champagny had some good moments for him. So I knew it was going to be, if the Warriors were on their game, that's one they could lose. And sure enough, first and third quarters were almost identical, and then the second and fourth quarters were almost identical, where as soon as Biyombo came out of the lineup, San Antonio got so much better. I mean, Biyombo, look, he has his place. I'll say this. But I'm not being honest if I'm not saying he's one of the least skilled basketball players I've ever seen. Like, his skill level, he doesn't have much skill. He's just a rebounder, shot blocker, but as far as like doing stuff, it's just no. But when they took him out of the lineup, last night I think Biyombo was minus 19 in a game the Spurs won by 3. Minus 19. When he was off the court, the Spurs were 22 points better than the Warriors. Think about that. So, look, Pajemski, who's been shooting really well, didn't shoot the ball well last night. Moody, who has been struggling a little bit, still some shots he could have made last night, missed him. Even Buddy got off, hit his first shot, and then he went cold for a while. Kuminga was bad last night. Gee was bad last night. They just had some guys that just weren't very good. The role guys. Steph was fantastic. Jimmy was fantastic. Draymond had a couple turnovers late, that weren't great, and that definitely hurt them. But he also came up with one turnover. He had a great stop of Keldon Johnson at the other end, and then Jimmy got fouled, went to the free throw line, hit 2 free throws, where he spent damn near half the night at the free throw line. But the role players just didn't have it last night. They didn't. And San Antonio, I've played on teams like this. You get 3 games left to go in the season. You're going home. You got the U-Hauls backed up, and you're good. Some teams like Phoenix are presumably already in the U-Hauls and driving down the road. I mean, they're gone like a month ago. They're just like, yeah, we're good. We're out. They're already thinking of like Mai Tais and Hawaii and like, okay, we're good. San Antonio's still grinding. They're still grinding. They're still playing. Because you know what? If they didn't, even though Pop's not coaching the team, I guarantee you they'd hear from Pop. If they went out there and put a bullshit effort out there and didn't try, didn't compete, they'd hear about it. So that's just not what they're about in San Antonio. And again, it's not like they have a bunch of players who you look at and go, these guys are scrubs. These guys, wouldn't even be playing if it weren't for the end of the season. No, these guys are players. Again, you got Chris Paul, Hall of Famer, Harrison Barnes, champion. Castle's probably your rookie of the year. Vassell's a really nice player. So they have some players on that team. It's just once the Warriors got up 13 in the third quarter, you figured, okay, they've reestablished. And then, you know what? Couldn't hit a 3 in the fourth. And San Antonio, I think, hit 6 threes in the fourth quarter. I mean, that last one by Barnes was insane. Because the whole last 30 seconds was goofball. Warriors have the ball. They turn it over. The Spurs score. So you tie it up, and now they have a 2-for-1. Warriors get the ball, and I'm trying to think, they get the ball, and that's when they come back down, and Harrison fouls Draymond with 3 seconds left. It's like, what's going on? Wait, what? Somebody suggested they might have fouled him on purpose. I go, I don't think so. I don't think you're going to foul someone with 3.1 seconds left. I don't care if it's Draymond or not. But maybe they thought, you know what? We'll take our chances. If he makes both, we get a last-second shot. Draymond may not make both, but I still don't think they did that on purpose. I think that was a mistake. So you feel like you caught a break if you're the Warriors. 3.1 left. Harrison Barnes hits like a shot. But I talked about this last night in the broadcast. You start getting down toward the 5-minute mark and it's a tie game, 1 game, 1-point game, 2-point game. Variance comes into play now. Because guess what? As bad as the Hornets are, as bad as the Wizards are, as bad as the Jazz are, as bad as the Pelicans are, they can all outscore the Warriors for 5 minutes. They could outscore the Thunder for 5 minutes. In a 5-minute game, you never know what could happen. You can make 3 threes in a 5-minute game. You could kick a layup on the other end. A turnover, a bad call. Like, again, variance starts coming into play with 5 minutes left to go in the game. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, that shot that Mamu Skidishvili, I'm messing up his name because there's another guy named Skidishvili, and he's an older guy. But I want to make sure I get this guy's name right because I was like really trying to get it right last night as I was saying it. I was like, I hope I don't got to say it too much because I'm not sure if I could say it fast without screwing it up. And I'm doing this for me, by the way, because you don't give a shit. There are people that are watching right now going, Tom, we don't really care what his name is. Mamu Kelishvili. There you go, Mamu Kelishvili. So from Seton Hall, by the way, he's a pirate. But he hit a 3 last night, rattles in, shoots up like 5 feet, then comes back down through the bucket. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, but then again, that's what happens. These teams stay close with 5 minutes left, and you roll the dice. And last night, Snake Eyes came up for him. Let's go ahead and throw the standings up because we'll let you know what this means for everybody. What it means for the Warriors is, and see if we can get that bigger for everybody. In fact, get it bigger for me. I'm not sure if anybody else can see it, but. Okay, I should. Okay, I know how to do that. What am I? I mean, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. I would have said it 20 years ago. But so the Warriors fall to 7th. So here's what the Warriors need to get back to 6th. They need Memphis to lose a game. Memphis has what do they have? They have Minnesota at home tonight, and then they got a back-to-back. They go to Denver tomorrow. That's a tough back-to-back. Flying into Denver and the Denver on the back end of a back-to-back, that is a no bueno. It's tougher from the West Coast because you're losing time. At least Memphis gains time, and then they have Dallas on Sunday. So if Memphis loses one of three and the Warriors win the next two, Memphis will drop behind the Warriors. Warriors will be top 6. Minnesota's behind the Warriors. They need to jump the Warriors because the Warriors have the tiebreaker on them. So if the Warriors win 2, Minnesota can't catch them. Clippers. Now here's where it gets interesting, because if the Clippers win tomorrow night against the Kings, they're going to finish ahead of the Warriors because they have the tiebreaker on the Warriors. So they might not play anybody on Sunday if that's the case. Again, check all the 3-team tiebreakers, check your local listings, all that stuff. I'm not sure exactly how the 3-team tiebreakers are working out against the Clippers in favor of the Clippers. I just know the Clippers and Nuggets have the tiebreaker on the Warriors. So the Warriors have to jump both of those teams, let's say, to get to a 4. They can't catch the Lakers anymore. You see right here, they're 2 games behind the Lakers, but the Lakers have the tiebreakers. The Lakers are going to finish ahead of the Warriors. So what you're rooting for, if you're a Warrior fan tonight, is Minnesota to beat Memphis. Because now they'll be 47-33. The Warriors 47-33, and they're going to go ahead of the Grizzlies. So you're rooting for Minnesota tonight. And then after that, I probably would root for the Clippers to beat the Kings, because then they'll probably rest everybody on Sunday. And then you go 2-0, you finish it 49-33, and you're probably going to get the 6th seed, I would guess. Again, Denver has 2 games left. All they have to do is win one of them, and then they finish ahead of the Warriors. So let's say you're the 6th. You got the Lakers. Oh, wouldn't that be a first-round matchup? That may be one of the highest-rated first-round matchups in the history of the NBA. I mean, because that is a monster first-round matchup. Steph, LeBron, Luka. I forget who I was talking to last year. And I asked him about the Lakers and Warriors always being on TV. And I said, why are the Warriors and Lakers always on TV? They're like 8th and 9th. And they said when LeBron plays or Steph plays, you can count on at least 1 million more viewers because those 2 guys play. And I said, that's a good reason to have them on TV a lot. So the NBA, I wouldn't think necessarily would want them to play the first round. You'd want to hopefully get them in the second round, have them play in 2 different series. So you get, more people watching between the 2 teams. But man, that is going to be a monster playoff series if it happens. Again, I'll throw Jimmy in there too. Jimmy, Steph, Luka, and LeBron in the first round. Oof. That would be something. Now, they could still get 7th. And if you win the play-in game, then you go to Houston, which I don't think it'd be all that bad. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Tom, Houston just came here and kicked our asses. They did. And Houston's good, but Houston's young. And so I still think Houston can be defended in the playoffs, and you can make it tough on them to score. But maybe I've been disrespecting them a little bit, because when I look at them, I don't really see a serious championship contender this year because of their youth. But again, Ime Udoka's got a really good squad, and he's a good coach. So maybe they do. But look at that. If the Grizzlies and Timberwolves are in, let's say it's 7 and 8, look at those matchups. I mean, those matchups are just nasty. There's no easy path anymore. None. I mean, your first round, you got to go up against Anthony Edwards or even Ja. I think I'd rather go against Memphis over Minnesota. Even though Minnesota's been having their problems, Memphis seems like kind of a mess without Taylor Jenkins and, him being fired. It's kind of funky there right now. So that's where we're at with the Warriors. You win the next 2, Memphis loses 1, you're in the playoffs. I'm not sure where, but you're in the playoffs. So that's root for Minnesota tonight or Denver tomorrow night, and Warriors would be good. I still think they're going to be good, and I think it would be nice if the Clippers beat the Kings, just so the Clippers would probably rest everybody on Sunday, because they'd have no incentive to play anybody on Sunday after that. They just rest them. Like, okay, we're ahead of the Warriors, we're good. And I don't know where the Clippers would probably rather play the Nuggets and the Lakers, I would think, unless they just want to stay home for a week. Because that's the one thing. If the Clippers and Lakers play, nobody travels. You just travel across town like 20 minutes and then you're good to go. And so Oklahoma locked in at 1, which they've been for seemingly 3 months. Nobody's caught them. And I do have to mention this, though. If anybody caught the Lakers and Mavericks last night, wow. I mean, Luka was emotional before the game. Lip was quivering. Eyes were watering. Like, he was shaken. They showed that tribute video. Yeah, that didn't look like a guy that wanted to leave, did it? It really didn't. Looked like a guy that thought he was going to be there his whole career and loved Dallas and loved being there and loved the fans. And all of a sudden, he's a Laker. And then he just went out and dump trucked him. 31 in the first. What he end up with? 47, 48? I mean, he just can't. I was wondering, like, is he going to be too amped up, too emotional? He wasn't too hot or too cold. He was just right. I mean, he went out there and lit them up. And I give Nico Harrison credit for showing up. One of my buddies called me yesterday and goes, what's he doing? Why do you even show up there? I go, hey, you can't hide. You got to show up. You're the one that made that trade. You can show up there and enjoy the booze. I mean, you have to. You can't hide from it. You can't run from it. You're the one that traded Luka. Good or bad, that's going to go on your NBA epitaph. That's what it is now. I think it was an awful trade, but maybe he's proven right. Maybe in 2 years, Luka's 340 and he getting hurt all the time and they're not winning championships. So, but you can't run. You can't make the trade and hide. I'm going to hide from the fans. He just got to figure out a way to win, and doing that, you got to keep Anthony Davis and Kyrie healthy. And I think they would have a decent shot at it, but haven't been able to do that so far. So, but that was good. I mean, again, I've said Luka is my least favorite player to watch in NBA history. And not favorite because, I mean, Magic and Bird, and I mean, Jordan, all those guys. But I love watching Luka play because he's so good. I hate watching Luka play because he complains all the time. That's it. I would love it if he just gave it a rest for like a month and just went out there and played basketball. And he just yap. Give me a call. I need the call. What are you looking at? What the bleep? Give it a rest, please. He can't do it though. It's like almost like he can't do it. He probably yells at his shadow when he's out playing by himself at the park, screaming at his shadow for some reason, like one of those crazy dudes at the park. But he's ultra talented. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's take some calls if we got, or not calls, but if we got any comments, we can take those and chat for a little bit. You got any Niners stuff, any Warriors stuff? Giants with a really nice win yesterday. I remember I was walking out of here and Daniel goes, "Yeah, the Giants getting run again." I go, "Oh, damn." Then I went and turned on the TV like 45 minutes later. I was like, "What?" It goes to bottom of the ninth. They're tied. I go, "Nice." And then I waited about a half an hour and Yaz hit a walk off bomb into the bay. So that was nice. I mean, that last one where you're about to get swept, just to get that one. I mean, they beat you in the series. They shut you out in 2 games. You had 2 great pitching performances that you didn't get paid off for. And then to find a way to win that one, to come from, I think it was like 6-1 down and find a way to win that was absolutely huge to get that one. Because you don't want to start backsliding, right? Where it's like, 3-game going on the road and maybe a 4-game losing streak. It's like, boom, snapped. And that says a lot about a team, their ability to get out of that rut, because before they came back from that, I forget what it was. They'd scored like one run in 23, 24 innings, something like that. It was like, what happened to the bats? Somebody stole them. Like, get those torpedo bats over here and try something different. You guys can't hit at home. And then they found a way to hit late and found a way to win that game. So it feels different. It feels different this year, but again, it's still early. You know how I know it's early? Because I checked 2 days ago and the Angels were in first place. That's how I know it's early. And that's not going to happen. Trust me. If the Angels are in first place at the end of the year, oh boy, it's going to be party. Oh, look at the Angels today. 11-1. Oh, suck it, Rays. Look at that. Oh, Trout, 2 bombs. Adele, 2 bombs. Ward, 2 bombs. Oh, fuck yeah. Look at that. Where are the Angels at right now? 8-4. Let's go. Where's my Angel hat? I'm going to start busting out my Angel gear. It ain't going to last long, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. Oh, man. What was my reaction when he saw himself in a trading card or video game for the first time? Trading cards was cool. And, I'm a fan growing up, and I collected cards. So to see myself on a basketball card, like an official basketball card, was really cool. I dug it. Now I got them all over the house. Now I'm just like, who wants these damn things? I got way too many of them now, especially the one in me in the short shorts where I'm holding the ball like over my head, passing it inbounds. I'm like, what kind of card is that? Like, you don't think I'm going to get a shot throughout the course of the game? You're going to take a shot of me inbounding the ball? Please, what are we doing here? And then the video game was awesome. Video game was maybe even better. I remember the first time I got to play a video game with myself in it. I think I took 50 shots. I was like, Run TMC can suck it. Give me the rock. I'm shooting it. I don't think I was all that efficient, but I got shots up. I was like, I ain't getting shots up during the game, but I'm going to get shots up during the video game. And so, and how, you know what, you want to know how cool it is? You go into a video game and you play it, and everyone that's played a video game has done this before, where you make your own player, right? And he's just like all juiced up. You stick the needle in his ass and he's just like, whoa, 99, 99, 99, 99. Like you're faster than everybody. You're stronger than everybody. You never miss a shot. Or, you're hitting like 80 home runs a season. Like you're just the man in the video game, right? Yeah, let's go. I didn't have to do that. I was already in the video game. I didn't have to make myself. Now, I wasn't 99 across the board, so I had to. I was kind of stuck with what I was, and I know it's a big deal in today's NFL. Maybe too big a deal that these players really get upset about their Madden ratings. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? It's a video game, okay? It's not that important. It really isn't. But I gotta say, when I saw what my jump shot was and my speed was for my ratings, I'm like, are you guys high? Are you guys insane? Like, no, I am faster than that. I'm much faster than that. I know you think, well, he didn't look that fast and he's white, so he can't be that fast, can he? Don Beebe. Did you ever see that guy run? He's white. That guy could fly. So, not all white guys are slow. So I was a little disappointed, and I could actually jump. I was like, I wasn't a high flyer. I wasn't entering any dunk contest, but I get up a little bit. So but it wasn't a big deal. I was like, well, come on, you guys got to be kidding me. And I'm a better shooter than this too, but whatever. So you look at it and you go, oh, these guys are on dope. And then you just go have a beer and you forget about it. Like these guys, like the NFL guys really care. They're like, they go crazy about it. Oh man, they're like calling up EA Sports. You guys, what are you kidding me? 84? Come on. I'm going to send some of my boys down there. Like, excuse me? What would you say? So yeah, you forget about it, but I could actually, I cared for about 5 seconds. So, all right. Thoughts on Giant City Connect uniforms? Don't really care. Don't love them. They're not special. Do we have a picture of them? We can show people, but Are any of the City Connect special? I kind of like the Padres because the Padres are so. I don't even know the word I would use for the Padres City Connect uniforms. Like they just burn your irises. Those things are like an LSD dream. They're colors and there's all kinds of colors, and I'm not sure why, but they go together. I don't know what they are, but yeah, I'm not. I don't really care. I just am I thinking of the right ones? Are the Giant City Connects the black ones? The all black. See, I'm tired of all black uniforms. Everybody like I don't like all black. I'm tired of black. Everybody has a black uniform. Warriors have a black uniform. The Giants have black uniforms. No. So no, they're showing it right here. They're not all black, but the uniforms are black. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. It looked like somebody like a fifth grader did it an art project, and he won it. Like it just, The other ones were cool. I like the white ones, but they're okay. I don't know. I haven't really seen any City Connects that I love, except for the Padres, because they're just so garish. They're just like, what the hell are those? But you know what? If you're gonna go for it, go for it. It just let it rip. Like Boston's kind of threw me because Boston's look like UCLA. They're like yellow and blue. It's like, when was that your color? Speaking of uniforms, you guys notice the Spurs uniforms last night? What were those? I think somebody in our booth said, did they go to TJ Maxx to get those? Like those were bizarre. Tim said they looked like they were baby blue that were left in the washer too long, like they faded or something. I was like, I go, that works for me. It definitely works for me because I'm not sure what the hell those were. Well, kick the Warriors' ass with them though. So there you go. But those were weird. Atlanta has some weird ones. Teams are starting to come up with colors you never knew they had. But I'm not a huge black. I'm tired of the black uniforms. What's my favorite new brewery or specific beer lately? I don't know. And you want to talk about? He wants a free roam collab. I actually saw Jeremy last night. He came to the Warriors game, got him tickets, and him and his buddy came over, and he dropped off some gear, hats, and some shirts. So it's always good to see. Always good to see Jeremy. And yeah, I always love representing the jersey, representing the brewery, free roam. This one's a little out of the way. Got to be honest. It's in Texas, so I don't know. New ones? Huh. Somebody wants to know how much does the business license cost to run a zoo in my neighborhood? That's a good question. I do have a zoo though. Bunny, 2 kitties, dog. Although the zoo has shrunk, I told you the turtle and the hamster died. But God, probably my favorite new brewery is Wondrous in Emeryville. They're not new. And also there's another one over there called Tenma, Tenma. And it's right around the corner from Wondrous in Emeryville. I think it's God, what street is it on? San Pablo, maybe? But if you go over there, if you go to Wondrous, just look on your phone, Tenma, Tenma. It's right over there too. It's really small. But they got San Pablo. Okay, it's on San Pablo. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool brewery. I just found out about them a few months ago. So check them out. I like them. And all the other ones too. Phil Works, Ellermaker, Sante Darius, Bear Bottle, all those. When am I getting a duck? Well, it's kind of hard to keep a duck, isn't it? Got to clip its wings. Like you put the duck outside, you might be running the risk. The duck says, you know what? I can make it over this fence. See ya. I'm out of here. So I don't think we'll be getting any ducks anytime soon. Although we do have a pair of ducks, the male female ducks that occasionally are out in the front yard. They just kind of chill out there. I'm guessing they've been together for a while now because I think ducks mate and then stay together, as a lot of birds do. And so anyway, Don wants to know if I think Nelly would come on the show. I don't know if I offer him some dope, maybe, possibly. Although he does his own, he doesn't need any of my dope. I don't even have any dope, to be honest. But yeah, I'm sure I could scare up some gummies around here somewhere. But yeah, maybe we'll get Nelly. Although Nelly told me 4 or 5 years ago when I wanted to get him on, he goes, I don't really watch anymore. So it might be fun for stories, but you want to have guys on that keep tabs on what's going on with the league. It's not just having guys on to have guys on. You'd like them to be able to talk about the games and what's going on in the league. I still think he probably watches the Warriors. I don't know how much of the league he watches, but he might. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't. I just don't know that to be a fact if he is watching. But no, Nelly's the best. Love Nelly, and he's one of the best coaches. Him and Lute Olson, two best coaches I ever played with. So let's see. Oh, Kings fan. Sell the team. I'm sure he has weed product to promote. I don't know. What does that mean? I don't know. Why does Vivek have weed product to promote? Oh, that one's about Nelly. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if he's promoting it. I think he's smoking it. I'm not sure if he's actually selling it. I don't think Nelly's distributing his dope. He might sell it on the island, maybe. And yes, the Kings. I feel bad for the King fans. Such good fans. I did so many games there when I was working for ESPN. One of the best playoff series I ever got a chance to cover was the Mavericks and the Kings. Man, that was a high flying series. But Bibby and Stojakovic and Christie and Vlade and Chris Webber and Bobby Jackson and Pollard, I think, was on that team. That was a fun team to watch. And the crowds are great. Crowds are always great in Sacramento. I love doing games there. And it looked like they had something going. And then Darren Fox wants out. And now it looks like they might be back to square one again. So they got to kind of figure that out, who they want to keep, what makes sense, who's tradable. But I feel bad for them because I was like, oh, this might be kind of fun. The Warriors and the Kings might have a rivalry where they're in the playoffs every year. They might play each other. That'd be super cool. Well, not so much. Doesn't look that way. We'll see what happens to the Kings, though. They'll be in the play-in against the Mavericks. And so they're going to have 2 games a crack at it of getting there. I think they'll get smoked by either Houston or OKC, certainly. But I think here's the problem with Renadive is I think he wanted Sacramento to be the Warriors. Remember, he was a minority owner with the Warriors before he bought the Kings. And it just seemed like he wanted to make them in the Warriors' image, which is fine, but you don't have Steph and you didn't have Clay. And that was really the Warriors. Like a lot of things went with it. Draymond, we talk about his tenacity, defense, IQ, Bogut, IQ, nasty, understanding of the game, all that stuff, right? Then David West and Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala. Like there's some really, really good players that were here. But Steph and Clay were like the cornerstones and Draymond. But it was Steph and Clay, the shooting. That's what made the Warriors and allowed them to run the systems that they ran. Well, last time I checked, Kings don't have either one of those 2 guys. Could have had Clay, but you wanted Jimmer. Oops, too soon? So you can't. I mean, it just, that's this whole and I applaud everything the Warriors have done, and they've done some great things there. Joe's done an incredible job. Bob and Steve, awesome. And Mike Dunleavy's kind of continuing doing a really nice job for him. But let's not forget, Steph was there before they ever got there. Any of them. And this doesn't happen without Steph. As smart as you are, as clever as you are, this does not happen without Steph Curry. And Steph Curry predated everyone that was here. So let's never forget that. This is not just about Steph, but mainly about Steph. He needed help too, not just on the court, but in the front office, coaching, GM, all that kind of stuff. But none of this happens without him. So if you're the Kings, as soon as you find your Steph, then go ahead. Emulate the Warriors. If not, you might want to try your own thing and see how that goes. And I thought they had their own thing, but Kings, what are you going to do? All right. Anybody else? Anybody go once? Going twice. Oh, I'm glad you popped that up. I mean, come on. Is anybody going to vote for Bundy? I can't even vote on this thing because it's on my thing. I'm going to find a way. Somebody vote for Bundy for me. I feel bad for Bundy. I mean, this guy is one of the most prolific serial killers of all time, and Zodiac's just stomping him. And maybe I don't have the attachment to Zodiac because I grew up in Southern California. So I had more of an attachment to Richard Ramirez. That dude was scary, man. Somebody tweeted me last night or tweeted underneath one of the tweets and said, man, I remember him. That dude was scary. I still lock my windows because of him. I'd lock my windows. I got a piece of wood and stuck it in the window frame so nobody could open it up. And like Richard Ramirez was, I mean, you throw that pentagram on your hand. That's no. So, yeah. Somebody give me a goddamn vote on Bundy. Can we do it right here so I can watch it click? Like, that's just embarrassing. 31.3. I mean, again, give it up for the Zodiac. He was never caught, but he wasn't nearly as prolific as Ted Bundy. People in the Bay Area just aren't going to let it happen. They're like, our guy's winning. We're getting it done. You know, it's been 3 years since we've had a championship with the Warriors, or 4 years. Giants haven't won since 15. It's been a long time for the Niners. We're going to have a champion here, and our champion's going to be a serial killer. So I don't blame you. Everybody likes winners, and doesn't matter what I guess what we're playing, what bracket we're doing. So there you go. Ted Bundy, 31.3. By the way, why does this whole thing add up to like 100.1? Can we explain that to me? Like, I'm pretty decent at math, but that one doesn't seem all that hard to figure out. Like, I don't know, two numbers should add up to 100, and they don't. And so there you go. YouTube, Twitter, figure that out. Why are we going over 100%? Maybe it's a coach that runs this thing. You know how they say, bless you, give me 110%. Give me 101%. I'll give you 101%. All right. Let's see if we can get that up. We got 160 votes. We got like 4 days to go. I'm hoping to get like 400 votes in there, and then really get a nice sampling. Don't we have any out of towners, people that didn't grow up in the Bay Area that are feeling a little sorry for Ted Bundy now, a little sympathetic? Like throw Teddy a sympathy vote. I mean, Teddy murder game. Let's go. Let's see if we can get him. See if we can get him some votes. Holy smoke! So there you go. That's the final round. Zodiac already beaten Dahmer, already beaten Gacy, and now looking to take down Ted Bundy. Wow. Can you imagine? There can't be a tougher run through a tournament than that. That is a gauntlet. That is a murderer's row, as it were. So literally, it's a murderer's row. So there you go. Go vote on that. You can vote on YouTube, and you can vote on Twitter. So next week is a little in flux because the Warriors are a little in flux. We're not exactly sure where the Warriors are going to be. They could have the week off. If they're in the playoffs, they'll have the week off, and we'll do shows and we'll get you ready for the playoffs and talk about matchups. And as much as I hate to do it, we're going to do it. We'll talk about the play-in games and the ramifications because I don't like the play-in. For the 9,000th time, I'll let you know why I don't like the play-in. Much like next year for the 9,000th time, I'll let you know why I don't like the midseason tournament. I feel it's my honor, my duty to do that once a year. Okay. Since everybody seems to be swayed now by the play-in games, like, oh, I didn't think I'd like them, but now I like them. Like somebody cast a spell over everybody. Like, oh, look, they're actually pretty fun to watch. Well, yeah, they're fucking single elimination games. Those by definition are kind of fun to watch. And the teams are close, hence 9, 10, 7, 8. It doesn't mean they're good. If 15 played 16, that game would be a big shitball, but it'd probably be close because the teams aren't very good. You go, oh, that was exciting. Don't be confused. Don't confuse close with good. All right? And those don't have to go together. So I'm not a playing guy at all, but the games can be fun. They most certainly can be fun. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll focus obviously on the Warriors and their path and where they're heading, and are they at home, are they on the road, who they're playing. I probably won't spend a whole lot of time in the East, a little bit, because I think the first round is going to be a snoozer. I think maybe 4-5 will be interesting, but I can't imagine New York, Boston, and Cleveland aren't in the second round. Now that'll be fun, because then you might get Boston, New York in the second round, so that'll be good. But we'll let you know. Certainly, try Sunday night, but Monday, what's going on, and then the goal is to bring the show on the road once we get the playoffs all mapped out, and maybe do some post-game shows where we either bring I'll do my duties at the arena, go back to the hotel, and then jump on and chat with you guys for 45 minutes or so, break down the game, take some phone calls, or we might even just take it on the road. We might take the computer out to a bar somewhere and just sit at a bar and drink beer and do the show. That'll only be 45 minutes, because I ain't doing a damn show 5 beers deep, like for 3 hours. Fucking I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that guy. I saw what happened to Rick Sutcliffe about 10 years ago. I was like, bro, somebody get him off the stage. Like, please help him. It was in a Padre game. They brought him up there. And I was like, yeah, somebody tell Rick, like, okay, we're going to stop now. Because Rick it must have been like Dollar Beer Day or something. Rick was enjoying himself at the ballpark. I'll put it that way. So yeah, but we might do that. I thought that might be kind of fun, especially if there's a bunch of riders around, a bunch of people that I know. It'd be kind of cool. Tim Roy said he might pop on with us. So yeah, just go out, have some beers, have a big, table full of guys, and maybe if they want to anyway. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to be up for that, but we'll figure it out. Again, we're just kind of tripping through this thing, figure out what's works, what doesn't work. But I would definitely like to do that. Like to take the show on the road and do some stuff with the Warriors for the duration of the playoffs. So Monday, we'll let you know what's going on. Until then, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and see ya.